Hello, my name is Will Drury.
Hit him again.
Throw it again.
Yeah. That's better.
Yeah. Hello and welcome to a Talking to the Actor. I've got that nick down now.
Talking to the actor.
Sipping his tea as I do the introduction. Hello, actor.
Who are you?
No, say hello first.
Who are you?
Who are you?
Well, my name's Will Drury. I'm an actor from Doncaster, 26, and I am very happy to be on this podcast today.
Thank you. How was your pie?
How was the pie? Not very filling, but nice odour to it, very easily washed off. So all in all, a very pleasant experience.
Oh God, he's going to try and be funny, isn't he?
There he is.
You're going to try and be funny, aren't you, Will? Well, we go way back, Will, don't we, Will? Years now.
Yep. A 3-year, 5-minute film. Yeah, that's a long time.
Yeah.
And I think some work before that, which probably shouldn't mention, for Death of Goldfish. But, very long time.
Yes, we'll get into all that.
Yeah.
But let's start with, so you're an actor from Doncaster based, YAFTA accredited.
Yeah. Did my GCSEs in Doncaster, then at High Melton College in Doncaster I did my national diploma, followed up with my degree, then I worked for 3 years as a freelance actor, acquired my teaching degree from High Melton again, and since then I've been working for Yorkshire Academy for Film and Television Actors as a freelance teacher as well.
Very nice. Let's go back. So from Doncaster, and I would say possibly the embodiment of the spirit of Doncaster. Smashing the drinks, smashing sports, looking at girls.
Yeah, pretty much bog standard Costa del Doncaster lad. It's a very simple life. A lot of negative stuff in the media about Doncaster, but yeah, you see it out and about. But it's not all what Doncaster's about. We've got a thriving sporting community. There's a brand spanking new theatre in Doncaster Cast, which is bringing all sorts of arts and culture into the town. And the campus, the aforementioned campus, which I trained, is now being taken over by a massive visual effects company worldwide for Warner Brothers. So yeah, I think Doncaster's on the up and up.
Hooray!
And that's our spokesman from Doncaster.
This podcast brought to you by Doncaster Cast. So there's a lot about you I don't know, Will. So, and there's probably too much that I do know. But the stuff that I don't know, how did you get into your acting?
Well, not to take you back too far, but basically
Go right back.
Okay, when I was
not like your parents made love, a child was born. We don't need that bit.
Okay, so after the conception, basically when I was 10 years old, I played a lot of sport, football, cricket, and so on. But once the football season finished, on a weekend, I had nothing to do, and my sisters were both at drama club. So my mum, in her infinite wisdom, thought, I want to go out this Saturday, so I'll drop me off at the drama club and just go out. And I was a very shy, very reluctant kid, and I'm very attached to my home, my family, etc. So when I went, I didn't take to it very well. It resulted in me hysterically crying.
How old were you at this point?
10.
And you were shy at this point?
Yeah, hysterically crying in the toilets because I didn't know anybody and I was really scared of meeting new people and all that stuff. Which quickly followed by the leader of the club asking me to get out the room, basically. And when I said, I can't, I'm really upset, he went, well, can you just cry in a different room because this is the women's toilet? So
you still will.
So then I cried in the bloke's toilet, and then I came out and I saw them all jigging about, and if memory recalls, they just asked me to walk on and deliver these 2 lines, and the plaudits you get, and yeah, that was the first interesting drama. And then obviously I watch a lot of TV like Fools and Horses and stuff. I loved all that. So once I realised that those people on telly started out like this, it kind of made me wanted to go, and led me to meet new, different people that I wouldn't have met in the sporting environment. So, yeah, eventually I took to it well. I kind of had my first taste of friendship there as well, which again made it even more incentive for me.
First taste of friendship.
Yeah,
Did you
yeah.
have friends before this?
Well, I really struggled. I was really competitive in my sports at school, so kids would kind of take umbrage to that, and like, I'd get in fights all the time at school because I'd, not to blow my own trumpet, but if we were playing football, I'd run past them all, score, and then maybe give them a digit or something. So it was very easy to not like me.
It's interesting. The things that everyone loves about Will now are the same things that...
Yeah.
And so our teacher's pet, parents' pet, whenever it was sport, I was the first pick for the awards or whatever. And I guess just at school it was difficult. And, you know, I don't think anything's particularly changed. I still, you know, there's still that kind of social barrier. I don't really mix well. And that's never really changed, but I just kind of accepted that, and what will be will be.
I think that's changed a lot. You're pretty social.
Well, yeah, but I always kind of struggle meeting new people. If I had the choice, I wouldn't.
Right.
So I'd keep myself to myself, and I'm very... I do like my own space, but then obviously you get the other half where you want to be socialised. And my social circle is very, very small. I'm not particularly bothered whether it expands or anything like that. I'm very comfortable with the social circles I have.
Okay. Will you remind me of this later when we get onto us meeting Will and stuff?
Yeah.
So you're 10 years old, you've cried in the women's toilets, they moved you to the men's, but then eventually you found the strength to go on and get plaudits for a performance. Do you remember the line you delivered? Or
No, I don't. I remember, because it were a musical show and obviously I can't sing for toffee, but I got asked to sing a solo at age 11, like about 3 months after I started going. And, you know, after that I loved it. I wanted to be there all the time. And, yeah, and I remember I was so scared. I walked up front of the stage and I just looked into this bright light. And how I didn't go blind, I don't know, because I sang this whole song to the light because I was that scared. And I thought, oh my God, I've just sang in front of all these people. And then I got home and my mum and dad, they were saying, Will, that were incredibly brave, we're really proud of you, but can you ask to never be given a singing part again? And I said, what do you mean?
11 years old.
So I said, what do you mean? And she went, Will, it's really brave. And my dad actually said, look, I wish I could get up there and do it, but, you know, I wouldn't be able to, but it were awful. And he says, Will, people were putting fingers in their ears and looking at the watch hoping the song would finish, so we're trying to remember the verses so they could predict the ending. So yeah, since that day I've not really sang, and that's why I very reluctantly go for theatrical roles.
I feel like I've seen a video of you singing.
Oh, that's lip syncing.
Lip syncing,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, that's not me. But yeah, then since then I've done more acting roles. For some reason, you always get in theatre, you always get nerves at the side, but I loved it because the plaudits and the fact you are. And I remember particularly at the same venue actually as the song. I remember we did a show called Witches when I were my first year in college, and I was dressed up as a mouse and I was running right through the audience, jumping over seats, interacting, and it's that control you have as an actor with the audience. You dictate whether they're laughing, they're crying, they're enjoying themselves, or they're talking back. And I think it's that is kind of evidence that you're doing a good job. Because if you're cavorting about on stage and they're not reacting, you're not doing anything to entertain them. You're not inspiring a response. You're just doing something for the sake of it. So I think when you do get that engagement, it's kind of a pat on the back to say you're doing a good job and keep doing it. Especially if it's like theatre where they obviously pay for the experiences. So
is that the audience reaction then?
Yeah.
You like whether laughing, crying, or whatever. It's
yeah.
Taste for manipulating, but not in a bad way. But manipulating is probably the wrong word. But enticing a reaction out of someone.
Yeah, I think that's what you have to do. Like when, particularly as a teacher, I mention to people all the time, because when you get actors, young or old, they all worry about remembering lines. And it's literally the least important thing. It's like...
Depends on the line.
Well, it does and it doesn't. But they say, oh, I can't remember lines. I keep forgetting my lines. It says, look, that's not important. People on the checkout at McDonald's can remember a certain phrase in order to tell you about an order. But it takes an actor to portray the feelings and believability. So that if you're watching a film, you feel emotional, you laugh at the joke. If they're half-arsing it and you don't get it, it's just a complete waste of time. So, yes, the lines are important, but you're never going to get thanked for it. Because that's the expectancy.
Yeah, I mean, alas, poor Horatio,
You forgot your
he
line.
was all right. Not as strong as I knew him well. You know, I'm not buying.
Oh, don't get me wrong.
Hamlet's motivation at that
Shakespeare's
point.
exempt from that rule.
Okay.
Because I don't like Shakespeare. I wouldn't watch it if it were in the back garden. But I have the ultimate respect for the actors who do it, because I think if you can play a Shakespearean character and portray it as it's meant to be, even though it might as well be in a different language. So essentially, you're conveying a message that pretty much no one can understand, but yet the audience is still getting it. I think that's like bottomless talent.
Fair enough.
And you know, hats off to him. I'd love to test myself to do it, and I have in the past, but only in small doses. I think a full play. I think that requires twice as much work as anything else, because you can make that emotional connection, but you first have to understand what the hell you're saying.
You accidentally use colloquialism in Shakespeare. It's a bit more noticeable than doing it in a modern day play.
If I do a Shakespeare monologue, then a character comes on and I say, "You're right, how you doing?" Right, so, yeah, like I said, it's not my cup of tea in terms of entertainment, but I have full respect for the people who can and do it. Definitely.
Fair. I mean, Shakespeare invented a shit ton of English. His own colloquialisms and all kinds of stuff.
And, you know, he invented swear words, which, you know, I'm kudos with. I'm happy with that.
Yeah, you benefited from that many times.
My vocabulary is grateful for that.
Okay, so you went theatre to begin. Did you get much film experience when you were young?
No, but I knew nothing about it. I didn't invest in any information about it. I was doing Amdram shows. I knew nothing about it, really.
This is all in Doncaster, you're Amdram?
Yeah, so all in Doncaster, maybe a bit further afield, maybe did once in Sheffield with a touring thing. But yeah, I never invested any kind of... I didn't in football or cricket, like the academies, it just sort of happened, that stuff. Whereas in Amdram, there's no kind of scouts like football and stuff like that, and it's not as busy at a young age. Looking back on it now, I wish I'd have had that insight and maybe gone to film school or just something like that, as it would have provided better opportunities, and it's an easier way in for kids as opposed to adults. When you start as an adult, you need credits, you need this, you need that, whereas a kid you're not expected to because you're a child and you can just act. And in hindsight, yeah, I would have looked into it, but I were enjoying the theatrical side. I never thought about film, actually. It just something that never entered my head. I like watching it and stuff like that, but in terms of doing that, I just thought, well, it's for special people. It's like, it's not me. It's just whatever. So I didn't really know anything about it. And the one thing that's kind of driven my work is that I never wanted to be a full-time worker as soon as possible, because I was just kind of I didn't assume, I just thought you're a long time working once you start. You don't stop till you retire or drop. So,
and Doncaster is not for everyone, obviously, I know, but it is one of those Yorkshire towns where you live, work, die in that town.
And my upbringing, my mum is very much works to live, but my dad is live to work. So there's always been, and I've always kind of sided with my mum. I always just work to live. That's just why I'm not really bothered about a bank balance as long as I can afford the next thing. I'm not really bothered. But in terms of choosing it after school, because once I'd had the experience, I took it at GCSE.
Yeah.
I got really good grades. I got a GCSE B, which was decent, because I used to suffer a lot with, well, I still do in a sense, but I used to suffer a lot with self-confidence. So in my secondary school, so year 10, 15, 16, we were doing a show called Blood Brothers, and I were playing 3 characters. There were only 3 cameos, but one of them was the guy who flirts with the main character's mum, and obviously is the father who then buggers off. But because it were a line, I remember the line actually, it's like walking on and say, hey, you look as sexy as Marilyn Monroe. Because I was 15, I could not say it. I was so embarrassed and the girl were older than me, really popular, and I, no one, if I wasn't there, no one would have noticed type thing. So I could not say it, and I tried 3 times, and in the end, they just recast me on spot because he obviously knew that I just was too embarrassed to say it. So
that embarrassed you.
Yeah, that embarrassed me.
I see.
Definitely changed.
And obviously before that, so that was something I had to get over, and I think it was that kind of grounded me a little bit, because then I got just the other 2 parts, which were over in the first 5 minutes. I thought, this is crap. I want to be the main guy. I want to be doing it all, and I guess I just kind of bottled it. So that were a good learning curve, because the guy who, in my opinion, the guy who did it was Tosh, but he had the confidence to do it, which I didn't at that time, and I was always sort of a late developer. At 16, I still felt like I was like 13, 14 in terms of girls and all that stuff, so I was always kind of just sport or acting or whatever. I didn't really think much about it. Then when I left school, the only thing I knew I wanted to do was not work full time, so I looked into apprenticeships, like bricklaying, things like that, if you can believe that. And then my sister were already doing her national diploma, so she went, you do acting, why don't you join this course? So I auditioned on a Friday, college started on a Monday, and I got in. It were miraculous, really. I don't think I did particularly well, but I think it's kind of, there's a lot less barriers in college, so I think they just kind of took me on just to see whether, they needed spaces filling, so I got in that way. First week went terrible. Basically, growing up, I was bullied quite a bit as a kid, so I joined the football team, the main football team in my area, to stop that. And what actually happened was I still got bullied, but when I got bullied, my teammates went and beat them up.
I was about to say, by stop that, do you mean I got 10 guys back?
No. So
I 15, wasn't there? There's substitutes.
Yeah, so I joined the team, and then basically every time I got beat up, they just said, who did it? And I went, him, and they went and beat him up. So it never stopped me getting bullied, it just...
So you joined a violence gang?
Yeah. Pretty much. But, so once I got to college, we were doing like a show in the main college, and all the lads who went to my secondary school, who I desperately wanted away from, once I'd finished school and got my GCSEs, I just wanted out in any way. They were all there, and we had done this whole dance routine, and I ran off, because I was like, I'm not doing a dance routine in front of them, and I thought, I'm just going to get kicked out of college here, I'm going to be nowhere. And thankfully no one really said anything to me, and I was allowed to continue. But that kind of started it. And then there's similar instances when I got to college. There were acting shows, and I give up parts, and then people turn around to me and said, but you were the best one. And in the end I backtracked and had to share a part, the whole mouse thing I referred to earlier. So there were instances like that where I guess I let myself down. But those 2 years at college, I still say, and I'm still best friends with the people I went with. Definitely 2 best years of my life in terms of, not of my life as a whole, but those 2 stand out as like the change, like the beginning.
Was Steve one of those?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot. I see a lot of pictures with like you guys, like, oh, remember this from way back when and stuff.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, at college, if you would have put all us together with the most unlikeliest group you've ever seen. Like me, I'm kind of sporty. There's a lad called Michael Horton who loves his films, loves his acting. He's autistic. He's very kind of rigid with details and stuff, and he's very kind of, he likes to keep himself to himself. But in his group, he's comfortable. There's a couple, Violet and Liam, who got married recently and went to Poland for their wedding, and a couple of others, including a bisexual crossdresser. So all completely different people. But in that space, we all came together. No, that's not me. Okay. We all came together, and we've been inseparable ever since, pretty much. And obviously, we're working out, you don't see much of each other, but when we do, it's like you've never been away.
Yeah.
So yeah, there were ups and downs at college, lots of relationships, things going wrong, arguments. It was that time as well where, I don't know whether you guys went through this, where on Facebook what you'd do is you'd get like a picture of characters from like a Disney show, and then you'd tag people in it for who looked like it. So if you remember Hercules, you know the two demon things, one was fat, one was skinny. So I remember tagging a skinny girl as one of them and then a fat girl as another, and that would just hit the fan.
This is real.
And obviously I didn't know what that sort of stuff was like, and like I said, in social environments I was really kind of awkward. So I remember like the first week of college, they were all kegging each other. So I thought, oh, I'll join in. I kegged a few people, then I kegged somebody, and she got really, really mad. And obviously I'm not mentioning names, but it was just a very sensitive time for her, if you know what I mean. And obviously I didn't know that. And, well, what happened, she dumped me after that. But
so you kegged your girlfriend?
Pretty much. But I knew...
This is real.
I knew one friendship was going to last, because when this were whole kegging, one of my best friends, Adam, the crossdresser, someone kept trying to keg him, and he just says, if you want to see it, here, and he pulled his trousers down and he just whacked it in his face. And nice. I thought, that's my best friend right there. I genuinely thought, that is my best friend. And I just like that, and it was that kind of, fuck it, idea.
So this was your A-levels?
Yeah.
What, do you remember any shows from that time?
Yeah.
I just want to move on from the... They have a word for tagging now, it's cyberbullying. I want to move on from that.
Well, it wasn't a term back then, and obviously in hindsight were a bad idea. But, you know, there's always them cliques, there's always a group of knobheads and stuff, so it's... Yeah. I'm happy to be one of them.
I do have a story like that actually about tagging someone. Not naming names or anything, but where I do my day job, there was a lad there who had a thing about tagging people in, and you know that thing where you put someone's picture side to side with them, right? And he's doing that with lots and lots of people, and then someone did it with him and the kid from Up, and he looked exactly like the kid from Up. And instead of laughing at it, even though he'd done it like half a dozen times, he was like, "That's not funny. That's really not funny. That's inappropriate." And he looked like the kid from Up.
Oh, it's amazing, different people, because you get people who are like, "Oh, it don't matter. It's a bit of fun," and it's like, "Oh, it can lead to this. Oh, for God's sake!" And you just get rid of it and think, yeah, it's one of them. If you're like a licensed comedian or something, you get away with it because you can just say, "Look, it's a joke. It's not an actual view. It's just a joke." But in that circumstance, everyone takes offence, whether they're just doing it for attention or whatnot. But, yeah, shows. First one, I think... Well, the first one were Banter, which were horrific, actually. Again, because of the singing thing, I refused to audition, so they gave me an ensemble part, which I was pretty pissed about. And so much so, as I was playing a juggler or a market salesman or something, I decided to fall asleep on stage in protest. And in the end, after about 6 scenes, of which the market wasn't in play, I was still asleep. So someone just dragged me off in the end. But that were a difficult time, because one of the girls who were on our course had passed away in tragic circumstances. So that were kind of the first kind of experience I had with that. Losing someone you know, and that hit the group really, really heavy, and that kind of solidified friendships and stuff. And
how did it happen, if you don't mind?
Car crash. Boyfriend at the time went speeding around the corner and they went straight into the side wall of a gardening show. And yeah, that was horrible, because we'd only known each other 3 months, but when you're working in that environment, it gets quite intense.
It's very intimate,
yeah, very intimate. You get to know it, and you know, I'll put this out. I'd already tried it only and got rejected, but that were at a party. But you know, but you know, that stuff's rife in college anyway, so that's neither here nor there. But she were a lovely lass, and it affected everybody in the group, and so much so that even just last year her plaque was still there 10 years later, commemorating her memory, which were a lovely tribute by the college and the staff. We moved on to just an all-actors play called Started With a Kiss, where basically 4 people play the same part. We're kind of a university campus with a Scottish character, with a Scottish character for some reason they got me singing, playing the guitar, of which I can do neither. And the Scottish accent wasn't
robust
bad.
as
Yeah, it wasn't.
liked.
Yeah, and it was horrific, and I was dressed a bit like Elton John, and it was just strange, very strange show. I'm not showing you a picture.
Yes, you will.
Yeah, probably. So yeah, that happened, and then I can't remember the show after that. Go on.
Okay, so A levels, you did your theatre
Yeah.
stuff. Did any film come in at this point, or
No.
no? Okay.
We did the odd workshop on film, but other than that, it wasn't really driven toward that. It was more just theatre, musicals, obviously, because there were actors and dancers and singers, so needed something that could incorporate all three. And yeah, second year of college, we did more shows. I got leading roles in all of the things because I kind of had that epiphany that, well, I'm here, I'm gonna show people what I can do. And I managed to get main parts. I forced myself to sing, which didn't get me the main part, but it got me the next best, which didn't have to sing. So, you know,
you're really good. But this character sings.
Yeah, that was pretty much it. So yeah, I forced myself to do it, and then lo and behold, before the kind of before the show where our main character, another student, sadly passed away, which again were rough, and it was difficult because me and her had more of a kind of a flirtatious relationship. You know, I was really into her, and she was just like, no, but not grateful for attention, but she enjoyed the kind of back and forth. That were horrible, actually. And so it just, again, it made the group even stronger as a whole. And so come to the last performance, we did a show called Back to the 80s, where the main character, played by one of my close friends, Liam, who is still close friends with now, he did a monologue about the different social groups and saying goodbye. Like, these two went on to do this and this, these two. And so even though it were the end of the show, it was the end of college as well. So he's doing this monologue, we're all meant to be frozen, and then as he's talking, spotlights come on the people he's talking about, and our blubbering mess. We're all meant to be frozen, and there's tears streaming down my face. I'm crying my eyes out like it's the last day we're all alive and stuff. And it was an incredibly emotional couple of years, but in terms of friendships and that, lasting friendships, lasting memories, things I still talk about to this day, like quoting different things people do and all, like videos we talk, stuff. It's just timeless. Definitely the best decision I ever made.
Nice. And obviously acting, so you got a lot of both life and acting experience there.
Yeah, definitely a lot of life experience and acting experience, yeah. The challenge of different things like dancing, lip syncing, which I had to do for one show, and kind of leading a scene, being, you know, like I mentioned, being the one in control of an audience response, things like that. It was a great challenge, and like I referred to earlier with the show in school, there were a lot of intimacy in the last two shows, and I was really scared about doing that because it's in front of people, and obviously, but I managed to overcome that and just crack on with that. So yeah, a lot of things overcome, and when that finished, the second year I was just determined to enjoy myself. So everyone's thinking about uni, so I wasn't, and so and going to uni was a last ditch decision, just because again I didn't want to go back to work. Start work, sorry. So yeah, I stayed at the same venue and went to university.
Do you think that course, because you talked about your nervousness, and do you think that course helped to overcome some of that?
That course completely changed my life. Like, without it, you know, not to be drastic, I wouldn't be the person, I wouldn't have the friends, I wouldn't have the memories. I'd have been a complete shell of what I am, and maybe I rub people the wrong way or whatever, or, you know, social circles small or whatever. But what that course does is inspires you to be whatever you want, however you want to be it. So not necessarily preparing you for work as a performer, just in life to have good basic qualities, to get used to things like banter, working with people you do and don't like, all the sort of mental preparations for being an adult far more applicable than most school subjects.
Cool. Just not bathroom hygiene, but we'll come on to that. So you go to university?
Yeah, at the same place with a couple of friends from college. Again, we all kind of made last-ditch decisions. Some went their separate ways, apprenticeships and other universities, but we all kept in touch. University were interesting. It were more theory-based than I'd liked, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. I just knew I didn't want to go to work.
And was this the same course, like a theatre, musical? Yeah,
it was called Contemporary Performance Practice. So there were a lot of written... We learned all about rigging theatres, stuff like that, lighting, sound, which were really good fun. But the plays were just bizarre. So we did a play called Ubu Wa, and there were like fake boobs and bellies, and I had a potty on my head and stuff, and I were Scottish again, and we were just kids in like a skit playing, and it was, it was incredibly weird. Sorry, and it was just bonkers, but we managed to pull it off. But looking back on it now, it was the wrong choice for what I now know I wanted to do. But in that moment, I had no clue what I wanted to do. Just that I didn't want to go to work.
Yeah.
That's so. Okay. I can't say it was the wrong choice because I didn't know what to do.
Fair. So you came out of uni with a degree?
Yep.
What did you get?
2-1. Completion of a 10,000 word essay and a 20-minute solo performance.
Nice. What was your solo performance?
Have you seen the film Any Given Sunday, Al Pacino?
Yes.
American football. So you know that end monologue, inch by inch?
Yes.
Basically, I kind of watched the film and I extended that. So that was the end of it. And then I kind of wrote 15 minutes before that explained the whole film and the relationships and stuff. And I formed the stage into sort of like a changing room. And then I kind of learned how to do a bit of hair and makeup so that I could make myself look older. And I delivered all that, then went on to the inch by inch, but kind of put it all together and then performed it. And that got a first in terms of that. And that's probably the only time someone's ever said to me, how do you remember all those lines? But that were a 20-minute solo, so I get that.
So, shit ton of theatre. How did you get into film then?
The first year of uni, actually, because at the course they do like filmmaking courses, all this sort of stuff, so they went, we need some actors. So we went, right, I'll do it. And if you see that, you'd probably be able to find the film on YouTube. It's called some or other. But basically I had a whole Justin Bieber thing, so straightforward hair and probably a bit bad acting. But it was great. It was a really different experience. If you know anything about theatre and film, a day on a film set is like a theatre tech rehearsal every day. In terms of actual script done, you do very little, and there's a lot of setup.
Yeah.
So it's very, very similar. It can be frustrating, but it's a great challenge because then you have to be able to deliver your best performance as soon as you can.
Yeah.
Because obviously everything takes time and setting up and etc. So yeah, we did that film. It was really nice. It was about a couple of brothers who kind of broke into the house of a woman who'd ran over the mother and killed the mother. And my character instigated it, and there were kind of a back and forth. And then in the end, it was kind of a mystery of did he kill the baby or not as a kind of punishment. But interesting because the direction was totally different. You do the same thing over and over again. I didn't really get it at first. I had to like literally say, right, walk this way, 1, 2. Then it was very kind of interesting. But when you see the final finish, you see, you can see thoughts behind the eyes, and you can see how it all comes together, and the mood and the music. And I just thought, yeah, that's what I want to do.
Do you prefer film to
yes.
theatre then?
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I love acting in general, but as a
rule of thumb.
As a rule of thumb, I'd do film just because it's just personal. I like the finished cut. I like that it's there forever. As a performance after you're done, you're done.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I love the rehearsal period of a theatre show. There's a lot of banter. There's a lot of learning, and there's higher stakes, and it's easier to get that emotional connection when you're constantly working with people. But I think film was more of a challenge in terms of, you get a lot of breaks and stuff. Your 14-hour day, you might do 10 minutes of work. But it's the fact that work is so important. And so I think that's mirrored in the pay scale, to be fair. I mean, great theatre actors will never get anywhere near as much as a mediocre film actor. Like if you think of, I can't rubbish anything, can I? But some actors who you won't pay in golden stars, they're on filmmaking so much more than theatre actors who can make you laugh and cry throughout an entire performance. So I think to do both it's kind of, theatre will hone your experience, will hone your ability, it will make you the actor you are, but film acting will be a greater challenge.
So sex scenes, you've done at least one sex scene that I'm aware of in film, and I believe it came before you worked with us.
Yeah. So
lightsaber dick.
Lightsaber, yeah. So obviously the clue's in the name, lightsaber, about glow in the dark condom.
He has a lightsaber penis.
It was,
story.
and that is the thing with film, specifically making your way first time. You might do a scene so intimate with someone you've known for 5 minutes, and that is where all your actor training comes into it. That's where all your method, all your memories come into it, because you might be working with someone you're either not attracted to or don't like. So, but you've got to, like, there's plenty of experience, like in The Notebook, where those two actually hate each other, Gosling and McAdams, but in film you wouldn't know. You would not know. Dirty Dancing, things like that. So that's where, things like that, where you can really prove yourself. But yeah, it's totally weird. You've got camera people in all sorts of, cameramen in all sorts of weird positions, boom mics hanging over you, you're doing, you're asked to do certain things, very intimate things, very private things, and it can get very uncomfortable, particularly if it's like, for instance, that one was a one-day shoot. I met him on the day, filmed it on the day, never seen him again, still owe me petrol money 5 years later. But that's just one of the things you have to get over, and you have to be comfortable in your own skin to do it. I wasn't, and particularly when you've got a cameraman between your legs, filming, looking at your face, it's very uncomfortable. But I think as long as you acknowledge that and you kind of banter about it, I think it's alright. But I think that's equal for everybody. Like, I were in more awkward positions than the female co-star, so I don't see that as a problem here or there. It's just as long as it's even and what the shot needs, I don't think there's a problem with it.
And you had a lightsaber dick.
Yeah. It was very, as much as I'd like it to be in real, because it was quite complimentary.
Yes.
I can definitely say it wasn't, unfortunately. But and it, it's a great kind of prop to throw about when you're bored.
Right.
But that wasn't the only one I've done, actually. I've done one more recent, and that was
a sex scene again.
Yeah. But I've been kind of seeing the way that local TV's going, like things like Emmerdale, EastEnders, Corrie. That's maybe sort of where your agent's maybe going to get.
You've done the Emmerdale, haven't you?
No, but there is a lot of, obviously in a more equal society, there's a lot more homosexual roles, a lot more gender fluid roles, things like that. So I thought, right, I best be comfortable in this environment. Obviously theatre, you're exposed to a lot anyway in younger days. But in film, it's very, very rare. So I took on a film where it was a same-sex scene. And obviously all the crew and all the writers from Prime Studios, actually, they were all of the LGBT community. So in a sense, it was very challenging, because obviously it never done anything like that in terms of professional work. But it was very well organised. Like, we talked to the script, and when it came to the actual intimate scenes, it was made sure that there were no unprofessionalism. Everyone knew the objective of the cut they were making, and there were shortcuts made. So like the scenes where there might be actual kissing contact, they were 1 or 2 shots then done, so that you could kind of just move on to the emotional side of it that were more important to the story.
See, I've always because there's lots of very talented homosexual actors who were in the closet or whatever who played straight men. Unfortunately, one of the ones that pops in my head is Kevin Spacey, who that's all for different reasons, but not. But I always thought it must work the other way. It's whatever challenges to their acting or whatever. It's just a role. So putting yourself in the mind of if you're homosexual, putting yourself in the mind of I'm playing a straight role, or you're a straight actor playing a homosexual. I've never seen why that was kind of considered more difficult for the. It seems the emphasis is on if it's a straight actor playing gay. It's a big thing. Those cowboys.
I think it's an all-time society type of thing.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a societal thing because
no one is ever going to question a gay person playing a straight character and go, oh, is this person straight?
I suppose, yeah.
It's like it's the old-timey.
Because I just think Brokeback Mountain was such a big. Oh, look at Heath Ledger and.
I think it's literally.
Eventually that'll disappear and everyone will just go, oh yeah, that's.
Yeah, I don't get it.
I think it's literally just the intimate side of it. It's just the level of intimacy you're showing in it that I think is the barrier sometimes. And obviously, things like Shameless and that are quite graphic scenes, and obviously, some people are more comfortable than that with others. Obviously, there's a lot in the news where a lot of people are in uncomfortable situations, but my whole reason for it was just to say, right, I just want to prove I can do it. Because obviously, if you watch Emmerdale now, the whole Rob Ron thing, they're two heterosexual males playing a married gay couple now, and they have been quite intimate. But I think it takes a level of maturity to do that as well, and obviously you get a lot of press of whatever, but I think in terms of playing something it's just a level of intimacy you have to portray that might come into it.
I have seen articles where kind of gay actors complaining about a straight actor playing gay and using the phrase of sort of like a straight actor playing a gay actor as a straight person sees them. But I suppose if your whole production was LGBT plus people, then they were there to know this is believable. Like if they've cast you and worked with you, then they must have felt you were able to portray.
Well, yeah, because it was sort of like they're both kind of on the edge. They don't really know, but then one night either does or doesn't confirm it. Stuff happens, and then they just kind of don't carry it on any further.
Did you enjoy that?
It was challenging. Like I don't know why, but like I said, it just might be a societal stigma where you're going into it and you're worried about, you have to do this or have to do that. But I think that's all in your head, because the actual stuff you're doing is not anything other than what you'd normally do in any other film. I think just first time you do it, I just wanted to make sure that I had that experience before anything major.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to maybe forget an audition for something. I didn't want to go in there having never done anything of that type before and maybe feeling a bit, not pressured, but a bit kind of reluctant to be full on or whatever. But I definitely feel comfortable in my own skin to do that now. I just thought if you look on, there's a lot of call for it, particularly in this day and age in short films when people are creating and stuff for this type of subject matter. So it was just a personal thing. I'd never kind of done something like that before, so I thought I'll give it a go and just see where I'm at. I don't want to kind of go there, be presented with something and be like, oh no, I'm not doing this, because obviously you can't be like that. You've got to be willing to do what the work needs. And I think as long as people can take that separation from what's real and what's fake, then you are just playing a role at the end of the day. There's no reason to. I think as well, being my background, I'm quite sporty, quite in a lot of things. When people see that, obviously you get them kind of looks and stuff, you get them thoughts, and if they watched Emmerdale and stuff, they'd probably think the same thing. So I think it's a stigma of environment sometimes. It's actually worse than. Well, it's not. Well, it is worse because there's no actual problem with doing that in a working capacity. So I think it's just getting over the social stuff of it that I really wanted to try and test.
And happy with how the test turned out? You found out about yourself?
it were some. It's just like anything. Just if I'm asked to do a fight scene, I'll learn how to do it and get on with it. I've done other intimate scenes with, people that I don't necessarily like, but you have to do it for the work. So I think in terms of the kind of homosexual nature of it, it was more just a challenge that I just wanted to definitely see if I could do, so that I was prepared for future work, because obviously in a modern society with things getting more modernised and stuff, it's more and more common, so you can't be reluctant to do certain things.
Fair play. I actually really respect that.
Yeah.
Right, I'm dying for a piss, so cut the recording and we'll get it back after.
Break.
And we're back. And we all peed. And we all have a new cup of tea.
Lovely.
So
podcast conditions.
So where we left off, you were just talking about your experiences during a homosexual role.
Yeah.
Which is ironic, given that when you were tight for money, I suggested gay porn, and you just laughed it off.
Well, I didn't laugh it off. It's just
that would be a cat meowing, by the way.
Yeah,
There's a cat in the room.
It's one of them things. All jokes aside, it's that old industry's not for me.
I'm just going to move this cat. Don't ask Will a question about something while I move this cat.
Okay. What's wrong with the porn industry? Why are you not interested in the porn?
I'd rather not talk about the porn industry.
Okay. Ask the question.
Okay.
Decline to answer.
Thank you. Door's going to shut. Cat's taken care of. She moans whenever she gets howled. She wasn't being hurt in any way, just for anyone listening. They're very well looked after, shiny cats.
So before that, we were at uni.
Yeah, so you've done
uni.
Your first film at uni, you've got your taste for that, you prefer the film stuff.
Yeah. Tried another film with another course and that went terribly. 6 to midnight shoots in early January.
Is this the one where they buried you alive?
Well, they wanted to. So basically, they took the clothes I was wearing and they put things like egg cartons up it and to make it look like a body. Mm-hmm. And then they threw it in a hole, buried it, and smacked the hole. But then they said, that doesn't look right on camera. Can you put these clothes back on and we'll throw you in? And I was freezing. You know, it was a proper diva moment. I admit, I shouldn't have done it, but I just went, absolutely not. You can shove it up your backside. It's totally unprofessional. And one thing that really miffed me is the clothes they were using were my own clothes. They hadn't provided a costume. So they were my own clothes in the dirt getting smacked.
Did you know they were going to do that to you?
Yeah, I did know they were going to do that, but...
You weren't then expected.
No, but then I wanted... Yeah, I did not... We worked it out so that all the scenes I wouldn't need those clothes again. But then they want me back in them, so I just kind of... No, I'm freezing. They've paid me expenses with a sandwich, and... You know what, I just thought, no, I'm not into this. And, yeah... That's the only time I've done that. It's just the other actor and the actual production staff agreed because the director had just hired them, and they all agreed it were uncalled for. But maybe a more politically correct stand might have worked. But at midnight, freezing, below zero temperature, I thought I was well within my rights.
I think you're totally right. As you'll know from working with us, I tell you what's in the script. I tell you these are the scenes. This is what I expect you to do. Anything after that you can say no to, and if you say no, I don't want to do that, it's like no, it wasn't in the script, it wasn't in our agreement.
I think that's it. I think in terms of starting out, you need to do things like this to get show real footage, and I think the minimum is your travel expenses, being fed and being able to get warm and toilet facilities. I think that's all an actor wants because they're hopefully getting show reel material, so you know, we can't ask fairer than that.
Yeah, but if you've arranged and they've understood you're not putting those clothes back on, they're asking you to, and you say no. I don't think that's a diva moment. Yeah.
No, but I found out that the director, it sounds bad this, but he has autism, which, you know, he didn't explain. You know, it's well within his rights not to tell me, but then, you know, it kind of made me feel a bit bad. But each their own, innit? It's like. It were very poorly run, all of it. At one point we got the police down because they thought we were drug dealers. So yeah, it were totally bizarre.
Speaking of poorly run, so it must not be long after that you met us.
I definitely finished university when I met you.
Yeah. You'd done the body film because when we met you we talked about that.
Yeah. So I think I was fresh out of uni just looking for acting jobs. No real guidance from the university course on how to do that. I was more tailored to maybe becoming a teacher or something like that. But no real kind of advantage I had to make as an actor. In fact, one of the feedbacks I got was, if I want to be an actor, don't do it, because you'll get nowhere.
Excuse me a minute, I have to sort the cat out a bit more.
So, disclaimer, for the rest of this podcast, there may be running footsteps. Sam will do what he can, but unfortunately, it's the cat's mad hour, so it will run up and downstairs for the rest of the day.
They've behaved every other podcast. kick one of them outside. What didn't even kick him? He just opened the door and ran out. He loves it. Oh, she's the one that normally hides when there's a stranger around. Will's around. Oh, God, look at him. Pussy magnet. Anyway. Right.
Yeah.
So is there more for uni before we go into us meeting? Because that will be its own journey.
No, uni were relatively quiet, odd parties, stuff like that, but relatively quiet period in terms of like eventfulness.
Was Amy on your university course?
Yeah, Nikki, yeah. But I knew her from like secondary school and stuff, so we'd always known each other. And then going into the big wide world, trying to get acting jobs after that with no real kind of clue of how to do it.
Yep. So you fell into our clutches. Did we meet you before the day we filmed the first thing, or did we just meet you on the day?
I think we met him on the day.
I think we met him on the day, and I think we were in the park.
Yeah.
Yes. So this links back to you talking about being nervous around new people and stuff. Because I remember you being very laid back and chilled.
Yeah.
And not really showing the personality of Will that we've all come to know and
love.
Cope with. At the time, I just thought, this is a really chilled, laid-back guy. But now I'm wondering if it was nerves, or that's just you are. Do you, when you meet new people, do you tone it down?
Always kind of. It's not consciously. It's literally speak when spoken to. That's whenever I'm still with like that with my boss, like with my relevant bosses. If they speak to me, I'll speak back. But if they don't, I'm perfectly happy not to and just go about what I'm doing. And it's the same with that. With this, I'll never kind of speak out of me saying, if they ask me something or tell me something, I'll talk. But other than that, I like just once I'm comfortable, you never shut me up. But at first, I think it's just speak when spoken to.
So, the idea of this film, which it never got finished because of actor illnesses, but I don't think it would have been one of our better ones at the time anyway, knowing what we knew then, etc. Was there's was it called Behind a Tear? I think that was the working title, wasn't it? Yeah. Woman, she's basically a hit woman. She stalks her victim and then kills her.
Yeah.
And the victim happened to have a boyfriend and was going through a park, and she was stalking this person in the park. I'm going to sort this cat out again. Tom, you recap the bloody film. I'm going to let this cat in a room.
Right. So basically, as Sam said, it's like an assassin and she's after a target, and the target's got a boyfriend. And she's like stalking for a park, and then eventually she was going to like climb into the house and do all sorts of stuff. And then I think we had a twist where it wasn't an assassin or something. I can't remember.
No, I think she was. There was a laptop, and she got the next target, and she cried. And that was the tear. That was it. The film was done as if she was getting rid of an ex-boyfriend.
Yes, that's the one. It was the other way around.
It was as if she caught her having an affair. Or him having an affair with her, and it went through. And then the reveal was that it wasn't anything to do with revenge. It was actually her job. Yeah.
That's the one. So we filmed all of your parts and the person you were working with.
Yeah. So your job was to walk through a park. That was your first day. 2 days filming. Yeah. And to kiss her a lot.
Yeah.
And we took lots of long distance shots of this and set her up watching you, etc. And we were like, oh dude, he's like never met this girl before and he's got to go kiss her in the bar. It must be awkward for him, not knowing that was how you lived your life.
Yeah.
That's totally
if anything, we had typecast the Will.
It's not how it was. Basically, it's just one of them things. Me and the actress who were working like really hit it off, and I don't mean in a relationship sense. I just mean in understanding what we had to do and just thinking sod it basically. So we're walking along, and obviously with you guys taking long range shots, the communication was difficult. So I pondered the question: do we need to keep kissing or not, or what do we do? There's no real guidance. So she advocated that we just walk 10 or 12 spaces and kiss, then hold hands and do it all again and stuff like that. So it wasn't a problem for me, and obviously the only problem I'd have had with it if she was uncomfortable with it, and as she instigated it, I would more happy to do
both it. Got very into it. It was beautiful.
Yeah, so into it so much that at some points we just decided not to film you. We were just like, we'll leave them to it for a minute.
Shy across the park kiss now is not worth. They're doing it anyway.
It's like, we're not even set up, but they're making out. Fuck it.
Yeah.
They seem happy.
It's very like, at the time it was very like, oh, look at these actors, they can just go for it, man. Then it was impressive. Now I see it was also method.
Yeah.
The Will Drury method. Kiss them a lot.
Oh. I follow direction.
You did. Then we had you, I think, one more night for that film.
Yeah, that was kind of a bed scene where you kind of heard noises and then you kind of go up and investigate. Not much happened in it, to be honest. And then no drunken dancing in the living room.
That was fun.
Yeah, with
Filming
real
through a
wine.
window.
So I think about half a glass and I was steaming me. I'm ready for going home on night out. But
we were younger. We didn't shoot quite as efficiently or well then.
no.
You've worked with us, and I think you've seen the improvement of our work.
Yeah, definitely.
Or our
It's
format.
a lot more direct in terms of what you want. And yeah, I think the work we have done together in particular has been, in terms of quality, has just gone up and up since that initial day.
Yeah, I think that was the period where everyone kept telling me to direct, and I was like, well, I'm doing what I think I'm supposed to do, and later I would get more comfortable. Okay, you guys want me to do this? Fine, motherfucker. I want you to say it like this, and I want you to do this. I want you to stand fucking there and do that fucking shit.
I think that's what actors need, particularly when they're starting out. They need directors who actually want something, because particularly when you're starting out doing short films, it's all for university. So all they're getting marked on is the quality of the footage, the angles, the lenses, etc. They're not really bothered about the acting. So that's when you need a director whose sole job is just believability of the actors. And that's where actors need to be told, no, you need to do this, you need to imagine yourself in this scenario, then you need to play the scene, you need to do this, and this, and at the minute it's not good enough. Because at the end, everyone's working, it's not just, oh, let's make a film, let's make it look pretty so I can show my family.
Yeah, I don't think I'll ever quite be that guy, but I think I'm better
No,
at do it like this, or not like, oh, there's too much.
Well, I've had it, obviously not with you guys, but I've had it in the past where as soon as I've done one take of a shot, they're like, right, move on. And yeah, you finish quicker, but then it could look totally crap, and the person who's going to fall down in it is the actor. Because if the actor don't look good, then it's a waste of time even doing it. And I've gone to the other extreme where I've been on set 12, 13 hour days, like laying on cardboard with rocks all over the place, you know what I mean, like a desert, and being told it's just not good enough, you're not putting in the effort. We'd done the scene maybe 10 or 12 times, and we were saying, look, you're taking a mick now, you're just kind of coasting, you need to pull it out your arse. And we both agreed, so we needed that, because we were, and sometimes you just need that external voice, like the gaffer type thing, to actually nail it home. I think there's some other approaches, but actors need to be conscious of actually doing a good job when they're first starting out, because footage stays there forever.
Yeah.
So you need to be on the money. It's not about just turning up, going home, getting your expenses done, because that footage reflects your ability.
Unfortunately, new actors tend to also get new filmmakers working with them. Yeah.
It's all a learning, isn't it?
Yeah,
So,
both sides are learning, yeah.
Well, have you ever been convicted of a crime?
Never. Never interviewed by the police, never.
Would you say you have committed crimes?
Never.
Never. You've never committed a crime, not even against, say, decency.
Maybe crimes against comedy, but
Okay, so I'm just thinking about after we filmed the behind the tier thing. It's the next thing we got you in touch with. I remember being really excited because it's Alex Davis, which is like it's a really cool little film. I think it achieved everything we aimed for with it. So I'm very proud of it. And it's you're tied to a chair and interrogated.
Yeah.
And I remember when we sent you that script, you were like, "Yeah, I'm really up for that. I've never done anything like that before." And you fucking threw yourself into that. And there was a bit where we lost the location. Because my parents weren't getting any roof, so we made Shire in between just to keep you guys working together. You and Amy Hilbert, who I will mention will have previously recorded a podcast. Whether that's off or not depends. Yeah, but. One of you committed a heinous crime against decency when we were prepping for, I'm not even sure which of those two films it was.
I think it was Shire.
One of you went to the bathroom, then the other one went to the bathroom. A bit later I went to the bathroom to discover
Extreme
So
vandalism.
you're shaking with laughter, Will. That doesn't come across on audio, so you may have to speak.
Well,
I walked out of that.
the particular memory is quite hazy.
Oh, is it? Oh, let me refresh you then, Will. I went to the loo, Will. I went and peed. I came out, and you and Amy both sat there, going through lines as if everything was normal, as if this wasn't the worst day of my life. Worst birthday ever, Will. And then I calmly went, which one of you did that in the toilet? And you, Will, burst into hysterical laughter. You couldn't even say words, Will. You just laughed at my pain.
Whilst Amy, who just denied.
It was a beautiful scenario because obviously you went through the order, me, then the other actor, then you, and obviously when you went, you must have thought it was the previous, which was the other actor.
I still don't know for sure, Will.
And so I desperately wanted not to laugh and for you to blame her because you were the last person who went. But as you know, when it comes to
Crime.
feces or flatulence, I have no focus and I will laugh like I'm being tickled.
Mm-hmm.
It's a shame I couldn't keep focus because I think the joke would have ran and ran. But yeah, it's very funny.
Funny? Is that the word you're using to describe it? You should be on your knees begging my forgiveness right now, you son of a bitch.
Well, I
It
think
was
it
like
works
fucking tentacles crawling up my toilet bowl. It took flush after flush. You or Amy are an actor whose shit I have literally had to clean away.
You are literally the reason that Sam owns a toilet brush. He didn't own one before. Didn't
No,
he?
I never thought I'd need one. I clench everywhere a little bit every time you or Amy go to the toilet in my house.
Honestly, I think I had a 3-year relationship with a girl, and I think I only went for a number 2 twice in that whole time in her house. So, I guess it's just really a compliment to how comfortable you make actors feel when they're working with you, that they are allowed to express
They're
themselves.
not allowed to do that.
Look, the plumbing is fine. The bog brush is fulfilled for its use. Everyone's a winner.
You bought me a bog brush. I bought a bog brush,
Yeah.
actually. No, I bought one, then sent you a picture of it. This is here now, never fucking again. And then I remember you sent me a picture. It was a toilet bowl filled with shit from where you work, and you were like, "Oh,
Karma, yeah.
Yeah.
yeah."
Yeah, very
I
karma.
was so happy with that. I was showing everyone that. Everyone was like, "Whoa, you showed me that for?"
But again, like, a lot of things I do tend to make, and I don't mean this sounds horrible, but there are a few instances where things I do make good stories. So I don't regret them because they always are, anything for a comic effect. It just seems very common.
Yeah. So let's say we had a list. Let's call it the Will Dick list, and it's all the time that Will has done a dick move. So one would be the toilet bowl. Now let's go back to Alex Davis, like the film. So there were issues with casting. We couldn't find a girl for it.
Yeah.
You recommended an actor.
Very talented acting.
Yeah, Amy McKeith.
Mm.
Very good, talented.
Yeah.
Before we cast her, we asked, is there anything we should know about between you two, everything alright, etc., etc.? Because we had previous experience of actors with personal issues with each other and stuff, and you were like, no, not informing us that you had tried to sleep with her and fancied her, and
we went to university together. We were both two flirtatious people. A couple of times on a night out we were with each other, but nothing more than that, nothing more intimate, and we're still friends now. We still communicate, and we've just a professional relationship,
which is lovely. But you told us no, and then midway through us prepping and filming, then told us yes.
Well, yeah, because really still have been a problem with getting an actress to play the role, so I just thought it wasn't an issue for me or for Amy, so there was kind of no reason to mention it.
Yes, there was. You were asked. Give an honest answer. Yeah, it's a bit of history. Shouldn't be awkward though.
Yeah.
It's very different to nothing. Big smile like butter wouldn't melt in your fucking fat mouth. You son of a bitch.
Yeah, look, it's just one of the things. I'm sure everyone has some, if you work together long enough, you always kind of make connections or whatever, but it's...
We always introduce you as this is Will. He may try and sleep with you.
Yeah, that doesn't help a working environment. That doesn't help.
This is Will.
Yeah, that can go on my dick list.
Yeah.
And I'd like to point out that I have never once attempted to, or even successfully wooed an actor once working with them. That is obviously not professional, and I would never try and do that. It's merely a bit of banter for you two, but I don't approve when it's someone that I don't know. But normally it's, always take the professional route.
The introduction for Will. This is Will. He may try to sleep with you. We are okay with you sleeping with him, but
After
please
we've
do so
finished.
after we've finished filming.
Yeah.
Which is just a lovely way to start a filming process.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it works. We get good performances.
Yeah. They don't look at me like I'm a predator at all.
But anyway, right, so Alex Davis, Amy McKee sadly had to drop out.
Mm-hmm.
Just with work, she couldn't get the dates. We tried to keep it open as long as we could, but eventually it was just, she wanted to go full-time into a job, and that was perfectly fine. So we got Amy Hilbert.
Yeah.
I remember Amy Hilbert coming for her audition. You came to help out.
Yeah.
You were, attached to the project now. And she straight away started giving you banter and shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was literally, I think I'd said hello to her and you said a joke and then she would pile on it. If I said something, she'd be like, oh, something. And it was just like we'd known each other for ages. Just no fear, just kind of. We're both actors. Let's just get on with it. We're all a group. Let's just have a bit of banter and get on with it. Yeah. It was kind of refreshing actually. There's no kind of stigma of working with people you don't know. It was just like we're all there for the same reason. Let's just crack on.
Yeah, she fitted great.
Yeah.
And, I thought the prep work on Alex Davis, we had you guys blocking it out, etc. That really worked. Then because my parents wanted a new roof with less location, we made Shire.
Yeah.
Now Shire has however many views Shire has.
I think half of them are mine.
Cool. There is another video that came out of Shire that has probably about 4 or 5 times as many views.
Yeah, it's longer than the actual film.
Yeah.
And it could have been one of 20 clips.
Yes, originally it was going to be a montage of outtakes. Eventually it just became one outtake because you and Amy have a weird frenemy kind of relationship where you will wind each other up, make each other laugh, and then yell at each other for making each other laugh or break character or chords.
I can honestly say that it's not something that happens regularly, but me and her almost just got on like an house on fire. And normally, for whatever reason, we just kind of bounced off each other, and it were I think it was good for a working environment. Well, not working environment, but it was good to make the atmosphere. We're a full working environment. Not much work done, but I think enjoying each other's company helped in terms of getting down to the work when we could stop laughing.
I loved it.
Thank God we don't use actual film, and it's a digital era. But
but it's the atmosphere. It's not just what you do; it's the way you do it. It's always been important. The way we do film.
And
that was fun.
I would say that 70% of the cuts were Amy's fault. But there is one instance where I specifically take the blame myself, normally because she turns around and laughs at my face. So, I can't help that. And like I've said before, when something makes me laugh, I tend to go for it. So it's, focus is something I really kind of need to work on. And I'm maybe just said an innuendo here. But, yeah.
So there are, I think, 2 times. I think there's been 2, but I can only really remember one where I have corpsed when we were filming.
Yeah, I remember
something has made me laugh so much that I have had to stop. I can't stifle the laughter. One of them is so we made this film chat. Which was Amy's dead. You're a detective. Bit weird. Bit Twin Peaksy kind of inspired. Not anywhere near as good quality or weird enough, but. She's dead, and you're trying to convince her she's dead, and she's trying to. She refuses to accept that she's dead. Mm-hmm. It was a nice little film. Did what it did, and it got us working. So when we went to Alex Davis, it wasn't like we'd all spent months away from each other. We kept that dynamic, and
yeah, definitely.
And Alex Davis is, like I said, is you trained up and you fucking went for it, and we'll go into that. But you had to rattle the chains and make a noise.
Yeah.
And you just went, "Arr." Do you remember that?
Yeah. Yeah, because I forgot to rattle the chains.
Yeah.
And do a bit of a moan and groan as if I were waking up, and I forgot. And then I think you mentioned it to me. So then I just did it on purpose. Like, really. And it were kind of breaking the fourth wall. I think that's why it was funny, because it was like saying F you without saying it. And yeah, that broke everybody.
Yeah.
But I think the reason why you asked me to do it again was because I was too quiet, and that was a cue for Amy's entrance.
Yeah.
So then when you said, can you do it a bit louder? I went back and I just shouted. I went, yeah. I was really miffed off. And then everyone broke. Amy were outside wetting his head, and you were just, yeah, your eyes were streaming. So, yeah, it was funny, but it was more, I think it was funny, funny because I was more genuinely pissed off. And it were actually, and, yeah. But yeah, they were great laughs.
Yeah, and you went for it, that film, because you've got quite bad knees.
Yeah.
And you on your knees a lot. We put like a mat down, but it didn't. Yeah,
I'm kind of a 26 going on 56 in terms of my body and stuff. And yeah, I just suffer a bit with my knees, maybe a bit of early onset arthritis or something, but it's not easy, particularly in those surroundings, to be down on your arches. But in terms of methoding, I'm in pain, so it actually worked for the film. So that, in that sense, I don't mind it. But yeah, I think it was one of those roles when I read it, I thought I can do something with this. I can actually show some ability with this rather than just look good on camera. So yeah, I wanted to really go for it. I wanted to test my senses since I could use some kind of vision and method in it and try bits. Obviously, there were a lot of outtakes, a lot of times where you kind of break character and stuff like that in return. But no, I found it quite difficult, and I think film acting's got to be difficult to turn it off and on and stuff like that. But yeah, I thought it was a great challenge, and the finished edit I was more than happy with. Yeah,
you get so many compliments. Like, your performance in that is fucking amazing. Like, that's one of the best acting performances.
I'd say, yeah.
Yeah, like, there's a couple in Love Story I can think of. There's one called Remote Fighter, I think both people in that, but like, you in that film, fucking, that's one of my favourite, like, that I've been involved or we've done.
I think that was the first film we finished where I actually still liked the film.
That's always a good sign. Yeah, you found so much more. It's interesting you mentioned about I told you to be louder. So did you feel at that point my direction was becoming more, no, do this, or not?
No, I think in that instance...
No, okay, no.
No, I think in that instance I'd just forgotten and I kind of knew my sen. But when you said no, do it louder, it was because I were on my knees and I were in pain and she wasn't coming into the door. So then I kind of went, where the fuck are you? And she went, well, I didn't hear you. I went, right, go out and I'll do it again then. So kind of a little mini diva drop. But no, I did like that. In your own way, you did kind of say, look, this needs to be different. You need to kind of add something to it. It needs to be a bit more intensity, just a little bit more direction. And I appreciated that, because sometimes if you're doing something over and over, it can get repetitive. It can lose its edge. Or maybe... You get the opposite. You either do it so much it loses its edge, or each take gets better and better. And so maybe by the fifth or sixth take it's at its best, but the first four are maybe throwaways.
Yeah, something I've found now with directing is it works better when there's shorter takes, but it's just right, do it again, and getting like a quick fire 3 or 4, and you can sort of see if it's building, and you sort of notice the point where it's like, okay, it's leveled now, and then if you still need something, to take a break at that point and just go, look, you've done this 3-4 times, we're going to take a 10-minute break, refresh yourselves, go back in, and your next take will be awful every time after a break, but then does that make sense?
Yeah.
Does that sound right as an actor? Does that sound something you appreciate, or no, get out?
I know
one take will.
No, I think there's some things, like I know I can't remember his name now, he will play Sir Ben Kingsley. He's like, if one take looks good, put it on. I'm not bothered. I know I'm doing it right. Some people will say, no, I want another 20 or 30 takes because I wasn't emotionally there. But, you know, it's individual to the actor. I just want to make sure. As a teacher, I try and reinforce this, but as an actor as well, obviously I try and embody this. But if I believe the circumstance I'm in, then I don't need to do anything to make anyone else believe it. As long as I believe it, everyone watching will. And I think, because a lot of things trying to impress people, trying to do things that look good rather than just living it, rather than just being in that emotional space. And it's one thing, if you believe in it, if you believe you're angry with that person or upset or whatever, if you believe the scenario you're in, then we'll believe it. You don't. It's not a thing of we're questioning. Oh, would they move like that? Would they say it like that? It's like, oh God, she is upset. He is angry. So as long as you, as an actor, as long as you're in belief of what you're doing, everyone else will be. So there's no need to do anything else. Like some of the quotes from like famous actors like Sir Michael Caine and Robert De Niro is like, do nothing. You don't need to do anything. And what they mean is you don't need to do anything more than natural. As long as you're, like I said, believe in what you're doing and believe you're in the scenario, you don't need to do anything more than that. You don't need to overcomplicate it with facial expressions or tics or anything like that. You just need to be natural. And it's sort of that thing of, well, you're trying to be an actor, but the best acting is when you're natural and not acting. It's okay. Very kind of weird. So when someone looks like they're acting, it don't look real. But then you are actors.
Yeah.
And it's kind of that.
I'm not sure if this was brought up in a podcast or something else, sort of done from thing, and I think it's Dustin Hoffman. He was talking about he was working with Laurence Olivier, and he was trying to like method it, and it's not going right, and he went to Laurence Olivier and it's like, can you give me any advice? And Laurence Olivier just went, try acting. And instead of like the throwing it and having to make it into this big thing, it's like, just go out there and just do it.
Yeah, some people.
I think that relates. Did I not relate? You're looking at me, Will, like.
No, it is.
Don't alleviate this.
I think that's a lot of people get caught up in, oh, what's my feelings on this line? What's my thing on this line? Sometimes people are just natural performers, like Julianne Moore. She doesn't subscribe to any method acting. She just does it. And her performances in recent films where she gets really emotional, even in films like Don Juan, which is really a raunchy comedy, she gets emotional in that, and she just says, look, I do it, I pretend I'm the person in the thing, and I just do it. She doesn't do it. And obviously it might be method acting, but she doesn't think of it like that. She just tries to be that character. Whereas some people are real, like Al Pacino, really strict and that, but it's totally personal. Like you might start thinking too much rather than just do it, rather than just going for it.
Amy Tamara, is it Smith or Watson? I forgot her name. Amy Tamara Watson. Yeah, this is one of the actors we've worked with who's done one of these podcasts. She's like that. I really like working with her because it's just time to go, right, go, cut, straight back into like no methoding, no trying to stay in a character. Just I don't like that shit. I hate that bit.
No, I think for film actors, what it is people say use a method because, like if you're working a 14-hour day, you might get 10 minutes of footage. It's very difficult to come in and out of character sometimes because obviously you do an emotional scene, you come out a lot of banter, then you have to be miserable again once they finally reset. So in that sense, obviously, if I'm getting paid a shed load of money, I'm going to stay in character all the time. Not a shadow of a doubt. But I think it's just whatever works for the actor. Like I said, there's loads of different ways, different methods. But if you're looking at it, 85% of Oscar winners since 2000 have been method actors. You know, pretty. If you're going by numbers alone, that's pretty impressive.
It's because the Oscars is a giant circle jerk of the same people sucking each other off.
Oh, well, yeah, but you can't deny those facts. It's like,
what's the Oscars based on? Because it's not based on sales, because the biggest selling films don't do it. It's not based on popularity. Fucking Crash won a Best Film Oscar. Fuck off with the Oscars.
Isn't it like 100 white blokes or something? Based on their opinion.
Probably not as much now, but it's not. I don't describe
it's a bunch of blokes with money.
Literally, I think the Oscars is an excuse so a bunch of rich people can get together in suits and feel like they're really important rich people.
Well, either or. For an actor, it's acclaimed. You are the best at what you do. Whether you agree with it or not, that is a registered like Emmys and things like that. They're all awards that say you can do something.
But you have to buy your own statue. Got to pay for the statue, you can't win it.
Well, you know, the point's still valid that method acting is one of the best ways to go to be successful in what you do.
I'm not an actor, but I think, for me anyway, like, I feel like method is something that a lot of actors should learn but not all actors need to use.
Yeah, definitely.
Like that, yeah. You learn. Like, I think it's like similar to like all of us, like every other skill. It's like that's a method, so you learn so that you know what that feels like to go into that place, and then you can then do it.
Yeah.
But some people might be like, yeah, I know how to go into that place, so I can now go into that place, but I don't need to stay there.
Fair.
Yeah. That's why a lot of method acting training emphasises repetition, so that you can just go into it like this. But you work, like as a teacher, I work with people, and sometimes they can just get up and do it. So then they're like, why do I have to learn method acting? It's like, well, you know, there's more than one way to bake a cake, is that the saying? Yeah, there's more than one way to string a cat.
But I always appreciate that. It's like Jennifer Lawrence. The stories of Jennifer Lawrence are
she's pretty cool.
She just sits around making fart jokes and eating chips and stuff. Then it's time for her to act. Like, okay, get ready, 5 minutes in, done. Does the next scene. Like, she doesn't, whereas like obviously Johnny Depp taking himself away, Heath Ledger, Jared Leto,
I think
Leto plays the Joker, has to send like weird Joker type gifts to all his castmates, they fucking hate him and stuff. Like, I prefer an actor who doesn't feel the need to do that.
Yeah, I just think it gets more publicity if you're willing to do all that stuff. I think
could be the wrong type of publicity though. His Joker was fucking awful. Fuck Jared Leto. Not really. He's quite cool. He's a cool guy. Just
I think he did send gifts, but one of the
gifts that he apparently sent.
He's been good in loads of things. I just don't like that.
Yeah.
While the gifts he apparently sent as a Joker that he didn't actually send, there was a rumour that he made up himself for a laugh. I can't remember what it was. It was something stupid though.
But it's still like
But there's a lot of like when you're teaching stuff, there's a lot of emphasis put on method acting just because everyone says they're doing it. You're amazed, you know. Sometimes like when you see there's bloopers of things like Kramer versus Kramer and stuff like that, and you're like, well, they're method actors, how can they be out of character doing bloopers? People put it on this pedestal, and it's not so different to like independent short films as in the big ones. It's all still people just working toward a goal. It's not as serious as people make out. It's not as strict and rigid.
I think particularly at the indie level, if the kind of director or the driving force behind that film is taking it too seriously, I think that harms the end product, if that makes sense. Like, You Being Buried and the late night shoots aren't particularly pleasant, but I think it's when the atmosphere turns, because you said that wasn't well organised. I think if that's well organised, like Alex Davis wasn't comfortable for you. Like you're on your knees, there's blood dripping down you.
But we all knew what the stakes were, and like obviously there were real spit and stuff and very uncomfortable things. But we all knew we were working toward a common goal. We knew that after this it was done, so we could move on. You know, take his time, get on, and then the next scene will come in. So that in terms of organisation, you need to know what you're doing and when, so that. But obviously, it's nice to know because you could be on a shoot and there's no end day, there's no end shot, so it's like, oh god. I think the worst thing when you start, well, not when you're starting out, when you just work. I did a film a couple of months ago where I turned up and they hadn't even got a shot list, so they were just making up, oh, this one will look good, this one. I went, well, how many shots are you going to get? How many are actually relevant? And I were half considering leaving after 30 minutes because it was just so, and they're learning as well, I get it, but they were just so unorganised. One of them started filming with lens cap on. And I'm not into this. Classic. And then the one thing that saved me is the actor playing someone like a barman I was talking to is a Scottish comedian like Frankie Boyle, and every time he spoke I were in bits. Like it would honestly, I'm hoping to go see him live in a month or so in York. Honestly, I've never laughed so much, and that made it worth it for me. Just because it were poorly run, but like I said, they were learning, so I don't begrudge them or anything like that. But you know, and then they wanted me for a second day to say one line and then go home. I went, I'm travelling to Lincoln. What? So it would. It's one of them things. There needs to be more understanding. Like if you go on casting websites now, they're all, we can pay travel but nothing else. Or sometimes say we can't pay anything but we need actors. Well, that's not good enough. It's not good enough.
You did get paid by us.
Oh yeah, I always get paid. You always look after me. It's you know, I'm doing something for you. You do something for me. It's you know, it's just how it is. It's how it should be.
Well, just think, because Alex Davis, I don't think you got paid a wage as such. I think you got expenses and
Yeah.
But the girl at the table, because you were not finished, we've worked together and girl at the table, which was like a rekindling after a year or two. Straight back in, straight to the banter.
Yeah.
I think you helped us. You helped us with auditions as well.
Yeah.
I had a great laugh doing that. That was another person who introduced us. He may try and sleep with you. Do it after filming. Yeah.
It does come to some things now where I have to say, look, can you not mention this? Can you say this? Well, you know, there's some stories I don't regret. It's not because, like I said, they're meant for funny stories, so I don't regret them. I don't particularly bother about them. Yeah, all contributes to the package you get, I guess.
Yeah. But girl at the table, so you just sat at a table acting.
Yeah, just sat at a table acting and a few problems with change and stuff, and yeah, very casual, very good working environment. Liked it.
And you got paid, motherfucker.
Yeah, I got paid in a bit of finance and a lot of humour.
Yeah,
can't go wrong,
the
really.
rekindling of the relationship. That wasn't as eventful. Like, it was just. I
remember because I've kind of wind down. Because you, as soon as I get here, you start and tell them basically everything anyway. So by the time I've got out to say, it's boring compared to all stories you've already offloaded.
I just remember you coming and helping with the audition for it.
Honestly, sometimes when you say stuff that I've said, I can't believe it because it sounds hilarious, and I'm like, if I actually done that, and now, yeah.
You did though.
Yeah. I mean, the podcast can't see the big smile on my face thinking about it.
I loved it. I love working with you. Like, it's fun. You're that actor who can go, like in Alex Davis, you really fucking go for it. You like, not leave you, but I can give you something and you embrace it. Like, every single time it's been like, you find your own thing, do your own, or I'll try it like this, or do it like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Feels the collaborative thing, which I really love doing, and then there's just lots of jokes. I think that audition that you helped us with, the girl at the table, I'd say about 20 minutes was the audition, and probably about 2 hours was just us catching up and and just joking and talking cricket. Cause
I think that's it. We have mutual interests as well, so it works hand in hand. There's many things we get along with, and like I say, it's always when I turn up now and you ask me what's been going on, it's like not much, and it's like, oh, all right. Well, let's start off this again. It's just like we just reminisce every time, just in case no news happened. But it's just one of them things, and it's one of the things where you work with people you don't expect to. You don't expect to make unlikely friendships. Like some people you work with, you never see again, never hear from again online. But us, we've always kept a connection over the past 3 or 4 years, I think, maybe longer than that.
Yeah.
And whether that's just like I'm the comedic sound puppet you like to smack and let talk a bit, or we do get on, so it's nice to, like, friends just catch up every few months and that, so and we all have common interests, so it just works.
Well, you're like that guy. It hasn't always, like, sometimes for schedule or whatever, but like if there's a role and it's a male role, it's like, oh, Will won't be able to do that, send it him. And if you can't do it, you can't. But if you can, like, whether it's a cameo or a day or helping with someone else's film, it's just like you're on the list. You're on the little Rolodex of actors that.
I do like it because obviously it's beneficial for me. I'm localish, and I can get here. I know the footage is top quality. I know that as long as I do my part well, that it'll reflect well on me. And I know you're prompt with feedback and footage and stuff, so it just works for everybody.
So, moving on from all that circle jerk, we just had our own Oscars.
Yeah.
Just basically just blowing each other, sucking each other off.
Pause it here.
Oh, are we pausing again?
Yeah.
Were you going to the loo?
Yeah, for number one.
Okay.
So, no brush.
Okay. Welcome back. Will peed on the toilet seat.
Yeah, I have just had to clean up piss on the toilet seat.
You know, right, as a bloke, you can't control the main street.
That's why you lift the seat.
You urinate, you put the seat down.
You two are unbelievable.
The only time I've ever...
I'm sorry, it's being toilet trained so unbelievable for you, Will.
The only time I've ever pissed on the toilet seat was actually not the toilet seat, it was on the toilet lid. Was when I was almost blackout drunk and I went to the toilet in the dark and I didn't realise that the lid was down. That's the one time I've never, pissed on the toilet seat and gone, oh shit, I pissed on the thing?
Well, it's funny you should mention going to the toilet in the dark. Because I tried to, I remember once, it probably explains a few things about me, but I went to the toilet in the dark, and what I didn't know is that my dad, was already on the toilet, but deliberately left the light off so that I could come in and they could shout boo. So he was sat on the toilet, I walked in half asleep, walked in and he went boo, I went, oh, I nearly fell downstairs. Kind of explains what my family does.
Nice. Right. So Tom, while you're upstairs, Will started trying to tell me what to ask him and what to say in this podcast.
Jesus
I had to
Christ.
explain, listen to me, guest. You do not run things.
Oh.
Right, Will, you're a teacher. You've mentioned a couple of times you do improv teaching.
Yeah, I once I got my teaching degree, my PGCE. I did voluntary work at Donny College, working with the college course there, like actors, singers and dancers, working with a lot of them. The same course I did as a teenager, which were very beneficial for me. It kind of allowed me to close off that chapter, something that I've always kind of looked back on.
And that was the same school you went to as a student, wasn't
Yeah.
it? So you saw all the old teachers.
Yeah, I worked with all the old teachers, helped a lot of the students, some of them who, forged friendships working that close to people. Some of them have gone on to university and always asking me for advice and stuff. So yeah, I've felt like I was able to benefit a lot from that.
Was it weird going for like drinks with your old teachers? I mean, some of these teachers you probably had a crush on or something. Was it strange or?
No, it wasn't strange. No, it was fine.
Okay, cool. Calling them by their first names, a bit weird, right?
Yeah, just a bit weird.
Yeah. So anyway, these students are asking you for advice and things.
Yeah. So
That's
it
gotta
just,
feel good.
I worked as part of the course. I had to do 30 hours a week to work with them, and then I stayed another year after voluntary. Just kind of, because it's a 2-year course, I kind of wanted to finish what I started. And during that time, I got a job with YAFTA, Yorkshire Academy for Film and Television Acting, and that's freelance work. So that's like in Sheffield and Leeds and Bradford, actually. And that's doing evening classes, diploma classes, and workshops, etc. And I've worked for them now for about 18, 19 months, something like that. And that covers all aspects of film and TV acting, so camera technique, different shots, predominantly method acting, improv skills, script work, and some of the more advantageous method acting techniques like the animal technique, things like that. And I kind of specialise in the introductory section of the diploma, as well as help them create devising films for the final assessments and stuff. They run an 18-month course, which is 3 Sundays a month with one off, obviously, and that's for 18 months. They have 3 assessments to pass, and their final project is 2 short films that they create themselves. The evening classes are hour sessions for teens and adults that are run, covering. Obviously, you can't cover much in an hour, so it's more method acting. Then next week we work on scripts, so there's always something different every week. In Bradford, it's more for Mind the Gap, which is a disability group. So there's many people like with autism, Down syndrome, ailments to that kind of area. And like this week, we did improv class, which were a lot of filming, and they actually some cases were more severe than others. But they all managed to create their own 10-minute devised film, so that were all their own work. I literally said, we did some improv techniques, and then I give them a word to make a thing around, and then we combined it all, and they made their own 10-minute film, which is something they'd not done before, and they all loved it. We managed to kind of break down barriers, have a laugh, and obviously working with those groups, some things you can't control, and some things that happen that are just out there. And I think what was great was they really stuck to their individuality. So they didn't, as soon as I said something, they kind of listened. They're watching themselves back, they're applauding each other without me telling them. It was really kind of nice, and it's really rewarding to see that you can make a difference. And the teacher who were in there with me, one of the supporters, actually emailed my boss and said how great a session it was and how much they loved it. And one particular thing stood out when we were doing improv. So they were in this abandoned theme park, and there was something really scary. Basically, rats had taken it over. That's what they came up with. And basically, so I tried asking some acting questions. So I says, right, what did your character feel? And he went, scared. I says, right, so what else? He says, well, it might be cold. You know, that makes things more scary. I went, yeah, of course. He says, what might you do then? He says, well, you might be shivering as well. And I went, yeah, that's really good. So, right, when we do this again, I want you to show that. Okay. So when we did it again, and bless his heart, he just stood there, and as soon as I said action, he just went, I'm cold, I'm shivering, I'm scared. And it was beautiful, because everyone were laughing, the teachers, the other students, and he just literally said everything. He said about, and it was just brilliant, and he was laughing as well, because it was just, he obviously knew that he was taken literally, and it was just really, really sweet. And you know, they're all very affectionate, come up and hug you and that, so it's really rewarding work, and something I've never thought I'd want to do, to be honest. But going back to the diploma that took place in Leeds, and that's a very kind of in-depth course of many tutors looking at playing extreme emotion. Obviously you have to have got a lot of great contacts for actors getting started in work, one of whom's just been nominated for an NTA award from Emmerdale. So you know, it's a very fast-moving company, and one that I'm very privileged to be a part of.
Yeah, they represent you as well now, don't they?
Yeah, as an actor, they represent me, and I've been more successful with them than agents in the past. So, you know, they do a lot of great work for the students. Financially, it's a lot more beneficial for students. It's half the diploma rates of any other course in the country, pretty much. And the training, in my opinion, is just as good talking to people who've graduated other courses. And obviously it's got its own laid back feel, so like tutors are encouraged to put their own spin on classes, and you know, I try to do that with humour. I try and break down barriers.
Yeah, because we one of your students, Morgan Robinson, who we did the first ever Talking to the Actor with, you messaged her, oh, I know Morgan, like she's really good. She'd done one lesson, I think.
She did a couple lessons to make up for one she'd missed. Cause yeah.
But you remembered enough about, oh, she did this,
yeah,
she's really good, and then she remembered your lesson and described it as being really laid back, that you just kind of walked in and was like, hey, yeah, I'm a bit hungover today, so we'll just take it easy and get into it. And I was like, that's Will. And then she just said, what a great kind of, she took us through your technique, so a bit like you did with those guys. I think you built a word, and then you, from that word,
you keep it very simple, and you got to allow them to create, because essentially they've got to do their own work. But I think it's in terms of improv, it's great because a lot of people get on nowadays by creating their own work, starring in their own work, and then going on to others. So I think it's important that they're able to do that. But ever since I started my teaching degree, like the one feedback I've got is maybe I'm not politically correct all the time, but particularly in schools where it's a lot more rigid. In that regard, so my feedback when I've been observed is like, naturally I'm a really good teacher, but sometimes I need to do bits to heighten learning and stuff. So it's like questioning things, like asking them for the knowledge rather than just telling them, because then it's no use to anybody. They just got to remember what I said rather than parroting. Yeah. So I try and do a lot of that. I try and do a lot of questioning, a lot of things like that. I like many actors that get inspired from other actors, I take a lot of stuff from other teachers. I think you've got to. That's how you broaden your knowledge. I do more reading now than I ever did as a student, which is another regret. I wish, that could have helped me a lot sooner. And I think what it is I struggled at first thinking, well, I'm 20 odd, how am I going to talk to people who are 40 odd, 50 odd, wanting to be actors? I don't want to seem like I'm talking down to them. But almost accidentally, I found a natural way of kind of getting over that, where I just acknowledge it, and I maybe start off by saying, look, I don't want to be patronising, but you know what this means, just so we're clear. And I think naturally, it's something I said I'd never do all through. I'd never be a teacher, worst thing ever. But actually, I find it really rewarding, and I feel like me improving my teaching skills, it actually helps my acting as well, because it keeps me up to date with what's relevant.
Do you ever get students that are just really difficult? Like you really struggle to, not necessarily teach,
some people,
you're just so not taking this seriously.
Well, not so much. Well, I'd say almost never. You have to, because they're paying for that experience. Yeah. So you don't get the kind of animosity you get with college, where they have to be there. Some people just can't do it as long as they've got an hole in the backside. But as long as they try, you kind of forgive them. But there is the odd one or two, maybe in the college environment, where you just think, why are you even here?
Yeah.
And working with that is very difficult. Sometimes you have to strip everything back. And when you're talking about method and things, it can get very complicated. So you can sometimes just say, look, just pretend. Just pretend and go for it. Because at this point, I'd rather that than what you're doing. Like, at college, for instance, they did a kind of a mashup of 3 plays. They did Full Monty, Brastoff, and Rita Sue and Bob 2. And in Rita Sue and Bob 2, there's a manic argument where it's like Jeremy Cow, pretty much. And they're all just so slow and robust. And like a day before the show, like, look, it's just crap. It's not real. You just line. It don't work. You need to be at each other. You need to be like really engaged. And it needs. I just said, look, it needs to be like Jeremy Cow show. You need to hate each other's guts in this, and and then they did it. And people after it went, I didn't get that scene because they were just like Jeremy Cow, just having a go at each other. I went, that's exactly what it is. They're just essentially portrayed as quite scummy in the film, and they're just having a go at each other. That's exactly what it needs to be. And sometimes people can do that naturally, but sometimes you need that prod.
Yeah.
And some people respond well to it, some don't. Particularly in college, there are a lot of things like storm outs and things like that, which is very dramatic. And yeah.
Nice.
But teaching, it's something I never thought I'd want to do, but something I've taken to like a fish to water. So I'm hoping to expand my range in terms of what I teach. In terms of the other tutors teach like more in-depth technique and emotion work that I'd love to, and vocal work and how to market yourself as an actor. I'd love to learn how to do more of that, really expand my range, and I'd love to be able to get some more auditions. But I am still working as an actor. I've got various video auditions coming up and self-tapes and all these things. So yeah, I think it's just trying to be busy, but I think for me as a person, I need that bit of money behind to feel safe. I always need that security. So, when times are hard, I might just have a 2 or 3 month sabbatical just to keep things in order, because I can't be worried. I can't do one thing as a build-up if I'm not secure. So
that links me to today. So, okay. So this is Talking to the Actor podcast. I'm really only aiming for like 1 a month.
Yeah.
I think it's a month since we recorded Morvins, maybe a bit more. Now I've got 5, because you just get people around, let's record one. It's...
Well, we were worried we couldn't get them in fast enough because for a while it seemed hard, and then everyone went, we'll do it. Oh, okay.
Before this one we're recording today, that potentially go up. If they go up, it's because the actor's cleared. I say potentially because there's still one I need to do and get the actor's feedback from. But you messaged me a couple of days ago, bit of a bad time. So it was like you were having kind of the actors' doubts and things like that. Yeah. So I just wanted to ask about that, if you don't mind going into that. But if you don't want to, then don't.
Yeah, I think you have doubts in every walk of life, like where am I going, what am I doing? And for me, I think particularly when you're a creative sort of character, I think you're never content. And I think that's something that many people in the industry struggle with, the lack of content. Like, I'm not busy in terms of an actor. I'm not going down London. I'm not searching for agents. I'm not searching... Well, I do search for work 2 or 3 times a week, but I'm not avid. I'm not doing 2 or 3 plays at once. I'm not doing... So all these stories of people being homeless and making away like The Rock and things like that, I'm not like that. So I'd never say, I'm a good actor, but I ain't had my break. I won't say that. I'm always the first to say I haven't worked as hard, but that was a choice. I'm not blaming anyone for that. I need that money security behind me, so I took that sacrifice. But yeah, I think you doubt your ability sometimes when you do a take, or when you do anything, you doubt whether you can stick to stuff. Like being an actor, I wanted to sing a lot of stuff where men with incredible physiques are getting more work than others, so I wanted to take that on, and I struggle with that because I love my food. But I've made those efforts, I've made those financial sacrifices with supplements or whatever, and then you doubt, why am I doing this? If I do get this body, there's no one gonna ring me up.
Or legal supplements, right? Not roids.
No, none of that crap. And so yeah, there's always those doubts of what am I doing? I could put it somewhere else, but I think it's just that voice in your head that you just have to shut up. Like in teaching as well, you're thinking, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? I could be earning something else, and you know, it's always, you know, it's always brighter on the other side, and it's always the grass is always greener somewhere else, and I think that's the main thing I'd say is just the lack of being able to be content, to be able to go home, relax, and think, yeah, I'm doing all I can at the minute. There's always something more you think you can be doing, but in that time you don't do it. Even if you're conscious, you don't do it, and I think that's the kind of inner battle that particularly people in this industry have. And obviously the success rate, whatever you deem as success rate anyway, people think success is Hollywood. Others seeing it as just having
money in the bank.
Mortgage and maybe 2 or 3 acting jobs and advert, and they're fine as long as the money's coming in. You know, so it's entirely individual. But sometimes just that lack of content, you feel like you should be doing everything. Like if I had the perfect life, I'd be able to train at cricket 3 or 4 times a day, go to gym twice a day, and then have an acting job 7 days a week, and you know, I do everything, and then somehow I come home to, you know, a family unit and whatever. So it's just one of them things, and I think it's just you get in one of those spots where it's just a culmination of everything, and yeah, you do get in those ruts where you think, why am I even bothering? And obviously some people that leads to other feelings which aren't great, but some people manage to just keep going on and get over that. But
what's your technique? How do you get through that or over that or past that?
I'd say distraction. I think whenever you've got a conscious mind, you're always going to have doubts because you just can't stop it. It's just something that always is there. So it's distraction, whether it's getting a meal in, or whether it's being sociable, or whether it's just family time, or just pottering about doing the odd jobs, things that aren't it's just a distraction. Or maybe a bit of escapism in a good film or TV series.
Do you find that it's sort of it's a thought process, and that distraction takes you out of it, and then you can go back? Yeah, it's like you need a break effectively, and then you get back on the
so horse. I feel like I do, and I've always kind of felt safe in my own home in that sort of thought process. So if I'm having a bad day, the only thing I want is to go home, and that's everything's done, no problems, I'm at home, I'm safe. That's fine for me. It's difficult because sometimes things can really just get on top of you. You just want to either shout and scream, or just be on your own and just be away from everything. But you know, again, it's completely individual. But it's the same in all walks. It's not an easy thing. Like, not to take it on a down, but everyone says our life's too short, but actually it's bloody long sometimes. For some people, life is bloody long, and you don't want it to end. But sometimes you think, you know, when's this feeling gonna end? When's it gonna go? You know, I think it's just difficult sometimes, and I think you need those people who can just distract you from it. Maybe a joke, maybe a drink, and even though it might not solve the issue, it just distracts you just for a little bit. Maybe it clarifies thoughts in your head.
Has this helped?
Yeah, I like it actually. It's a new concept, and it's something that obviously I've listened to a lot of podcasts on various topics: cricket, football, acting, all sorts. So you know, I like the idea. I think talking's great, particularly in this day and age. There's a lot of emphasis on particularly men talking. I think it's a great thing to look into, just in terms of getting people's actual feelings about things, where they can express themselves without judgment, without fear of.
Oh, you're judged. I ain't judging.
Oh, yeah, you're judging me to fuck on things that
haven't made it into the podcast.
that would not make it into the podcast as long as I'm reading. So yeah, but I think it's good to just kind of unwind and just chill and just almost have nothing to worry about. So everything I've done today. So just chill.
Nice. Right. Hinks, anything you want to add or questions or anything?
No.
Well, anything you want to add or chat or ask us about or talk about?
No, not really. I think I've talked a lot, so I think I've covered every aspect.
We covered so many experiences. I could go into some of your best, some of your worst, or inspiration. But I feel like in the chat we've covered all that. I feel like at that point I'm just ticking a box list of what could be chat rather than having a chat.
This one's been quite a flowy one.
Yeah.
It's just been a chat.
Probably quite long as well.
Yeah.
3 breaks.
Yeah.
Right, I need to go check my toilet seat. So we're out.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for listening. Will, thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.